Hey everyone, Ryan Maneri here at MBO America headquarters. Today we're going to look at some tips and tricks to help you in your finishing department. Today's tips and tricks are going to focus in on a common nuisance for folding, namely dog ears. So what is a dog ear? Well, there are actually three different kinds that you might come across, and I have examples of each of them in front of me here. The first is an upward dog ear, which you see plain and simple is when the paper is folded over on top of itself. It's as if you were marking a magazine for a page that you wanted to come back to later. The second is more or less the same thing, only instead of having the paper folding on top of itself, the corner gets tucked under the page. And so that's your upward and your downward dog ear. The third dog ear is an inside dog ear, which occurs only in the 8-page unit, and it forms these dog ears right in the middle as the paper is folded. And so you get these dog ears that are actually internal rather than external. If you find yourself frequently dealing with upward or downward dog ears, think about the path that your paper has to take before it gets to the fold unit. You have your feeder, you have your register table, and then you have your fold unit. And so that paper, as it's moving along, could have come across any number of different snags. If you're looking at your infeed, at your feeder unit, you might see that a smoother is not positioned exactly correctly, or it's positioned a little bit too low, and that's creating a snag at the infeed. You might also see that you don't have your alignment table adjusted correctly to the infeed, which again would cause another snag right at the infeed. That's two very easy things, very quick fixes in order to eliminate these dog ears. Also, as you move down to the register table, you could have any number of imperfections occurring along maybe with the marble rollers, maybe along the guide, the register guide, or you could have an imperfection even within the lattice framework. If you have a lattice alignment table, that framework can have a warp or a bend in it that could create an impediment for your paper as it's moving to the folders so that you would get this dog ear, this upward or downward dog ear. The last thing that you'd want to check is actually in your fold unit itself. It may be that you have a sheet deflector that is not positioned correctly, or that the deflector itself has an imperfection in it. You may find that burrs are building up on the deflector, or the deflector itself maybe had gotten warped if you had a bad jam in a prior job run. And so if you have an imperfect sheet deflector, you're going to have to replace that in order to get rid of your dog ear issues. Next, we're going to take a look at the inside dog ear. I want to bring you in close in order that I can better explain to you how an inside dog ear is formed, as well as why it can only be formed in an 8-page unit and not the parallel unit. When folding in the parallel unit, you have a single sheet of paper that forms nicely around the fold rollers in order to create a crisp fold. You can see that as I move my hands up and down, there's nothing in the paper that's resisting my motion, and instead it's going back and forth very smoothly. When folding in the 8-page unit, you have a product that's actually already folded. You no longer have a single sheet, you have a folded product. This example here is a double parallel. And what happens when you're folding in the 8-page unit is that you're folding along the spine edge. When I do the same test that I was just demonstrating earlier, you can see that I have all kinds of issues creating that smooth motion. In fact, I can't even do it. And so what happens in your 8-page unit when you're trying to fold the paper is that the folder will force the fold regardless of what resistance is there, and you end up with a dog ear that's on the inside of your signature. The way to get around this problem is to score your paper as it comes out of the parallel unit. And so I have with me another example that has a score. I've marked the score in black in order for you to be able to see it. And what happens when you fold this paper is that you've essentially already told the paper where it needs to fold, and so you don't have any of those problems with dog ears. The paper just folds perfectly right along that edge, and you get a clean, crisp fold. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you saw and would like to learn more, feel free to register for one of MBO's upcoming folding seminars and be on the lookout for more videos from MBO America.